Hey everybody, it's Michael here from Replica Air Guns, and believe it or not, I have a blank gun review for you guys. There was a time several years back when we had all kinds of blank guns. I'd review them, test them, shoot them, do tabletop videos. We had guns from ARAL, we had Zeraki blank guns, some Italian guns, Bruni, Kimar. We had quite a few that we could get. Specifically, we were selling a lot of the ARAL guns and a fair amount of the Zeraki guns. And then the Canadian border guards decided to crack down on importation a little bit. The problem with blank guns in Canada is that it's really not understood exactly how they fit into our Firearms Act. Are they replica guns? Do they have a purpose of some sort? We are allowed to have signaling devices. We are allowed to import signaling devices into Canada, and that's how many of the blank guns were imported into Canada, because they were flare guns, they made a loud noise. They were signaling devices, so they weren't considered to be real guns or even replicas. Now, that said, if they looked too much like a real gun in production, a lot of times they weren't allowed into Canada. So as long as they were slight variations of real guns, they weren't perhaps maybe the exact same size, perhaps they had different features, you couldn't really classify it as the exact gun or looking exactly like the same gun as one in production, then a lot of times they were okay. And that's why we were doing okay with guns from Zeraki. Even a lot of the ARAL guns we didn't have too much of a problem with. That all came to an end about 3 or 4 years ago when there was that crackdown, and since then we really haven't seen a lot of blank guns in Canada. Now I do have two guns here that managed to get in. They're from a company, a Turkish company called ARAL Arms, and these are both 9mm PAK blank guns. You might think this one here looks a little like a Glock. You might think this one looks a little like a CZ75. They kind of do. But in terms of size, they don't really fit in. They're quite different in a lot of ways. Size-wise, they're quite a bit different as well, and I'll show you what I mean in a second here. Now, in terms of quality, I'm going to show you around these guns and everything, but in terms of quality, you know, they're not the greatest. I'd say the model 1453 here, this is the basically the one that kind of looks like a Glock. That one's maybe perhaps a little bit better made. It just kind of looks funny to me. It's kind of chunky. And then the CZ75 looking one here, this is the model 622K. Now they do come in a number of different finishes, and I'm not even going to talk about how to get these in Canada. I don't really recommend these guns. There's a lot better blank guns out there. For instance, we sell the ROHM Blank Guns in our store because they're a high quality blank gun. You know, they're really well made, just super quality guns. Look at the barrel and everything. A lot of steel parts in these guns as well. Right, you've got, you know, steel stamp magazines, which most of them do have, but just the finish quality of the ROHM blank guns. You know, originally they're a German company, so it's just a nice gun. This is sort of like a PPK or Makarov kind of version of the gun, but still, these are really nice guns, high quality. They're going to last you a lot longer than most of the other guns out there made in Turkey. And again, we have a whole selection of ROHM blank guns, revolvers, 22 cal 9mm. All different versions. So check out our replicaairguns.ca website for those guns if you're interested in blank guns in Canada. All right, let's compare some of these pistols to what I'm talking about here in terms of size. Now I'm not going to bring a Glock to the table because I do have some Glock replica air guns, but I'm not allowed to show them. Glock doesn't like that. Perhaps when the Umarex version comes, the licensed one comes, I'll be able to do that for you, but not now. This is the SA-177, but in terms of size, I can show you. So you can see here, there's quite a bit of a size difference, at least in the thickness or the length up and down in the slide. The ARAL one is very, very chunky, right? And even the trigger guard is like kind of huge in comparison to the Glock style, right? But the SA-177 is very similar to Glock in size and shape. I believe this even fits in Glock holsters. So you can see it's very different in terms of size. Now checking out the 622K, the CZ75 looking gun, it is pretty close in terms of thickness, okay, that way and that way, but you'll notice it is definitely shorter, right, a lot shorter, okay, maybe not quite as thick. It's just smaller in general. It's a smaller gun, but it does look a lot like a CZ75, so I'll give it that. Now when I got these, I only got one manual. I only got one manual with the what is this one again? It's the model 1453, the Glock looking one. Manual's fine, but you know, there's a lot of different language stuff going on. So if you're good with pictures, you're okay there. They didn't come with flare adapters, although they do have basically threaded barrels. I don't know if you can see this. They do have threaded barrels, but no flare adapters came with them, which I thought was a little weird, because to import them I would have thought the flare adapter would have been mandatory in terms of making them more of a signaling device. The 622K did not come with a manual, and they both came in these hard shell cases, which are nice, but one of them didn't even have a clasp on one side, so that was kind of weird, but it holds, it locks for most intents and purposes, does the job. Alright, let's take a quick look around. We'll start with the model 1453, the kind of Glock replica. Now they do have, I'm not sure exactly the capacity, but I'm going to say these are at least like 15 round mags, at least in this one, maybe more, because it's a double stack. So it's a nice, you know, stamped steel magazine. That's good. You do have a working slide, right, with slide catch release. This one actually has a safety on the back, right, safety on the back right here, so if I push it over, it's safe. Push it that way, and I can fire it. Let's take a look at it. 9mm PAK, slide catch release. This is for disassembling it. You pull that out to disassemble it. Steel trigger or metal trigger. There's your magazine release. Polymer frame, heavy metal slide. It sort of looks like it's vented, at least here. These are cut out, but they're not through and through. It does have the chrome barrel and ejector port, breech area. Got your extractor there. Right. Not bad looking gun, but it is so chunky. It's such a big gun. I have big hands, and it's like a RoboCop gun or something. You know, almost futuristic. For some sort of futuristic video or movie, it might be a good prop. That's about all I could really recommend it for. Let's take the mag out real quick. I'm going to quickly field strip this one because it isn't too bad for field stripping. Okay. There we go. Got to make sure I put everything back the right way. So let's take a look at all the parts. So you have your frame here, right? And the barrel, by the way, is steel. That's one thing that's kind of nice, is the barrel is steel. Put a magnet on it, it sticks. Part of this isn't, some of the metal around here, but the barrel is steel, but this is probably a zinc alloy. Polymer frame, right? This would be a zinc slide, but it's pretty heavy. Right, some of the parts, getting a little dirty here. Getting a little dirty here, but those parts, I'm gonna put it back together off screen. Pretty easy actually. Went together pretty easy, but it's hard to do it in front of the camera like that. Just a little bit tough. Pop that back in. Alright, there it is. I'm not going to disassemble this gun. It does come apart pretty standard. You basically just toggle that down, push that out, and it will come off. But it's really hard to get back together, this one. I did that last night. But you'll notice the finish is kind of different. It's not a big fan of this finish. It's almost like it's just like painted with a sort of semi-gloss. It looks kind of cheap, to be honest. Maybe in a different finish it would be okay. This gun does have a safety here, which is ambidextrous. Okay, you do have a slide catch release, right? It's okay. It's just, to me, this is just a little cheaper gun. So there's your takedown lever there. It does shoot in, I believe, single and double action. Yeah, single and double action. You do have your magazine release. You got your stamped steel magazine. Right? It just doesn't really even click in there so well, but it does. It gets the job done. You've got your model number here. Right? Got your 9mm PAK there on the breech. Extractor. There's your safety again. Plastic grips, of course. This one's metal top and bottom, so metal frame, metal slide. Again, you have your threaded barrel. Okay, they do make this again in different colors. This isn't my favorite, but this is what I got my hands on. So it just kind of has to do. It's okay gun. I mean, it feels good. I'm going to be doing some shooting with these guns, trying them out, see how they operate. I imagine they'll work pretty good. I mean, it's not hard to make a blank gun cycle. It's pretty straightforward, but we'll do that in a future shorter video, just some field test shooting video, shooting the guns. Obviously, no accuracy involved in that. Just do they shoot? Do they work? That's pretty much what I test out. If they do, that's a good thing. If they don't work, then it's a bad thing. All right, we are working on trying to get some new blank guns for you guys. Just bear with us. There's a process involved, and we're going to see if we can perhaps get some other guns from Turkey. I don't think we're going to go with these ones. I don't think that they would just be as nice as some of the other guns available. And if we're going to go through the effort of bringing them into Canada and stuff, then we might as well get the better ones. All right, thanks for watching another Replica Airguns video. Don't forget to subscribe. Check me out on Facebook and Twitter. Username is Replica Airguns. Also check us out at replicaAirguns.ca and replicaAirguns.us, where we have our Canada and US online Replica Airgun stores where we sell air guns, BB guns, pellet guns, airsoft guns, blank guns, and other accessories. All right, thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.